What's the delay you said? Should be 10. Yeah. Keep 10. Do this.
I have to promotion. Can you come?
Yeah.
Really quickly? I'm going to be in there. I'm coming.
It's correct. I don't know why it's not. Why is it correct? I don't know.
One watching. You changed the name of your account?
My hand just passed.
Yeah.
I did. I made it my company name.
Oh, that's great. I'm live. You're blocking the camera.
نه من برای عروس میخوام چیز کنم مادر بزرگشه
این مطر واستیم.
She had no idea what you're saying. Live. Zoom in. Oh, you got this. Okay. It's good. Very good.
Thank you everyone for coming. This is a much larger turnout than what we had expected, and we're very happy to see this turnout. It's a pleasant surprise, I think. That's due to our guest speaker, our honor of having a Holocaust survivor with a really remarkable and inspiring story, Mrs. Judith Wohlberg. Thank you so much. It's our honor to have you. We just want to quickly thank some of the people who worked very hard to put this event together. Mr. David Pam, Delanian, Eli Kashi, Debbie Hakimian, Michael Levy, and NYC, of course. Dave Gurinzada, who volunteered to do our videotaping. And also, we have some wonderful singers, Robert Novak and Owen Ruveni. We have some special guests here as well. Of course, our esteemed rabbis are here, and you always. Mayor Rawl, thank you for joining us. We also have a special guest, Mr. Emil Hakimi, who is running for public school board. As you all know, the elections are coming up. They are on May 17th. There are 4 different public school locations where you could vote. Please, everyone, go out and vote. If you have any questions, it's 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. If you have any questions regarding registration or any other questions regarding how to vote, please see Khanan Faladi. Another quick important announcement is we have another very special speaker coming up. Mr. Rudy Rothman on May 3rd, this Tuesday. Rudy Rothman. For those of you who don't know, Rudy is a very big influencer online and on college campuses where there's a huge battle against anti-Semitism happening. So we're excited to have Rudy come speak. So that's this Tuesday, May 3rd. So we're expecting a similar crowd. Without further ado, Eli Kashi. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. We're going to begin our tonight's program by starting lighting 6 candles commemorating 6 million Jews. For the first candle, I would like to invite Rabbi Biton, please.
לעילוי נשמת 6 מיליון יהודים שנרצחו בשואה.
For the second candle, I'd like to invite Rabbi Moshe.
هوای ظریفیه. ناپلیونی میگه.
For a fourth candle, I'd like to invite our President, Johnny Hezia. For the fifth candle, I'd like to invite our Mayor Paul. And for our final candle, I'd like to invite Mrs. Wohlberg. Please everybody stand up. We're going to have someone, a very good singer, is going to sing another for me for us, Mr. Robert Novak.
B'Tel יבואו שלום, וינוחו בשלום על משכבם, ויעמדו לגורלם בקץ הימים, ונאמר אמן.
One small request, please, if you can turn off your phones, put them on silent, so the ringing doesn't interfere with the speeches. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert Nobat. Next, we'd like to ask Rabbi Biton to step up and give us an opening speech.
I am very touched to see this incredibly large audience that came tonight to remember. Our presence here is a declaration that we refuse to forget. And as important as the number of people sitting here tonight is also the age average tonight, which is low. And that's amazing. That is how it's supposed to be when you want to transmit from generation to generation. You know, today is more important than ever to connect with those who experience the Shoah, to look at their eyes and to tell our children, my eyes didn't see the Shoah, but I saw the eyes that saw the Shoah. And that way you become a witness. It's important, one of the things, because Holocaust denial has many different faces. I know that it's not politically correct anymore to be very explicit, but you can also deny the Holocaust by saying something like, you know, war crimes, or like, I asked Alexa today about Yom HaShoah, and Alexa answered something like, yeah, there were 6 million Holocaust victims, and conveniently didn't mention the word Jewish. So we have to be aware of it, and I just want to share with you some very brief facts about the Jewish nature of the Shoah and the Jewish nature of the Holocaust and the hatred. First of all, for the first time in history, the Shoah wanted a war that is Judenreich, which is no Jews. It's not like in other criticism and conflicts where they want another people to leave their land or something like that, or they will kill or do something to their people in their own land. Their plan was to kill every Jew in the world, including one Jew that was in Albania. There was this obsession with Jews that never happened before. Second, there was no mahloket among the Nazis, no dissident opinion. They had a one-seat conference in which they discussed one single issue, the final solution for the Jewish problem. And all the most important German government officials were there. And they all say that whereby all the Jews of German occupied Europe will be deported to occupy Poland and murdered. There was no dissent. They all approved that unanimously. Third, it was an irrational hatred. As it is very clear in the movie The Last Days by Steven Spielberg, when the Nazis had to choose between winning the war against Russia and sending units of army to the Russian field, or to use those soldiers to deport and kill the Jews of Hungary, they decided to use these soldiers not to win the war, but to deport and kill 500,000 Jews in Hungary. They were not crazy. These people were educated people. They listened to classic music. They were family members, professional, educated, and mentally sane. Millions of German citizens are ordinary people, had no problem taking part in this huge extermination project. Fifth, we didn't have nothing, no help from outside. No one to bomb the camps or the race of the train, nothing. You think the war will do something? Nobody did anything. And Jews had no choice. They couldn't convert or go away. They had one choice only, which was death. That's the only choice. And don't think that the Shoah affected only Ashkenazi Jews. Sephardic Jews were also in the same target. I heard today, with this I'm going to finish, from Mr. Basalian, from Mr. Sabzevar, they told me something I never knew, that in Mashab, some of the local population, they had plans. They already assigned the houses of the Jews and say, I'm going to keep this house, I'm going to keep the other house. They officially distributed the houses of the Jews. Who is going to keep them when the Germans will win? I hope we never forget. I want to thank you on behalf of everyone, Mrs. Wohlberg, for being here. I know that you have Mashali grandchildren, and me too. I just want to give you a blessing that I learned this beautiful community. I want to give you a blessing. My blessing for you is Salobis Salehu. May Hashem bless you with 120 years of good life, Bezrat Hashem. We love you and we need you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rabbi Mitzon. I just wanted to introduce our guest for tonight, Mrs. Judith Wohlberg, as her family called her Bobby. She's one of her, I think, the oldest survivor. Bezrat Hashem, she looks another day over 60. She's amazing. She looks young with her daughter here, and she has, as Rabbi said, the first time that we have a survivor that has several great-grandchildren that are Mashali. So every time I spoke to Judith, she has, even though I met her tonight for the first time on the phone, she's always laughing, smiling, and she's always happy. I met her tonight, she's happy. I saw her on YouTube, she's always smiling, always happy, and she says, I can't wait, you know, in La Gomer, in just less than 3 weeks, my grandchild is getting married, and she's very happy. So what I spoke to her yesterday and asked her what was important to her, and wanted to quote a couple of things that she said to me that although we all hear her to learn her story, to understand what happened to her, but some people ask questions, why did this happen, why did it happen to the Jews, and Judith told me, we don't understand, this is what God wants, for us to continue. As she said, we don't understand what God wants. Israel was created out of the ashes after the Holocaust. It was a miracle that the Jews survived, and we're here. We'll never disappear, she says, and that's really what God wants. And every time I spoke to Judith, the main thing that she said, she's her emunah in Hashem. She always says that's the most important thing. Every other sentence was her emunah, her faith in Hashem, and that's what's important to her. And she's here, and she has many, many grandchildren, and she likes to stress that all her kids, and her grandkids, and her grandkids, they all study the Torah. They're from the religious people, the whole Shem Shabbat, and that's it. And now everybody stand up while we have Judith Wohlberg coming up.
My name is Judith Wohlberg. I come from a little town in Romania. I was born. There were about 150 Jewish families, all religious. We were quite happy. We had our family, love, affection. We had our Torah, which we cherished. We did not cell phones. We did not have computers. For that matter, you probably didn't have them here either at that point. But we were quite happy children. With little, we did not have Toys R Us. We had to make our own toys. Then, at 6, I was 6 years old when I got sick. I played with a dog, and I got that sickness. It wasn't heard of to have surgery, but we had no choice. My father was a very big chassid. We went to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe told me to have the surgery, and I will live. He gave me a medal, which he blessed, and I went to that till Auschwitz. I lived, I went through the surgery. I had therapy because I was like a cripple. After 3 months, I was perfect. Went home. And in those, today they would have all kinds of therapies. Being a child of 6 alone for 3 months. I was fine. I had no psychologist, no therapy. We were all right. Lived quite a normal life. We had a nice store, made a living, not rich, but fine. After a few years, I went to public school, well, naturally, then we didn't have the good schools you had. And after public school, we had somebody who taught us, a teacher who taught us how to daven, how to say the prayers, but not more, not like the children, which take it for granted what they have. After a few years, we lived normal. We went, the war started. In 1944, the Germans came. Actually, we did not see any SS. They gave over that part to the Hungarians. The Hungarians were my father's beard with a piece of skin. That's how cruel they were. But after a while, they got us together. They took everything away, and they took us all to the ghetto. You probably heard all those stories. I could sit all night. I will just tell you a little bit of it. From the ghetto in a short time, thank you, they took us into cattle cars to Auschwitz, which wasn't Poland. It was called Birkenau. And in the cattle cars, we had no facilities. Could you imagine men, women, and children having no facilities, just pails? We lived. As the cattle cars stopped, that's the first time we saw the Nazis. They were screaming to open the door, schnell, heraus. We should get out fast. We went out, and there were Jews that were there from before, Polish Jews. I'm sure you saw pictures with the striped outfits. They knew what was going on, we did not. They took the child from the mother, gave it to the grandmother. We thought it's cruel. They wanted to save the mother, because they needed strong people for eventuality. Maybe they'll need us to go to work, as it happened. I have never seen my mother, my 13-year-old sister, my grandparents, nobody, my aunts, uncles, they all went to that site. My sister and myself went to the right, meaning they met many others, for eventually they will need us to go to work. When they need their people to go to the war. We stayed in Birkenau, they shaved us, showered us, gave us rags to put on, and we stayed there for months, doing nothing, just standing Zelappel. If you heard, I'm sure you heard everything I tell you. It's not the first time. We did not work. We were hungry. The hunger was unbelievable. A pail of potato, piece of the skin of the potato was gold, but we didn't have it. And we lived there, standing Zelappel, counting cars, because they were always afraid that somebody will disappear. I don't know why, because there was no way. We stayed for hours in the morning, for hours at night. That was the job for months. One day, they got a telephone call, probably they needed 3,000 women to go to work. Salzwedel, which was next to Hamburg, and Fallersley, 1,500 and 1,500. Then came Mengele, which we all probably heard of him, the horror of horrors. And he chose the strong one to stay, to go to work, and the weak ones, naturally, I do not have to tell you where. I was the one who chose to go to the left, my sister to the right. She was stronger, she was 9 years older. The miracle that I'm here happened, as it happened every minute, the miracle, was that Mengele's girlfriend came right there to speak to him. He turned around, and as he turned around, my sister recognized me because I had the gash which I still had from my surgery. Naked, she would not have recognized me otherwise, and she pushed me back while he didn't see in the line He would have killed us if he would have seen, but he was busy with his girlfriend. That was one miracle that I am here. She took me to that site, and we went into Gavin to the cattle cars, and we went to Zalzwedel, which was near Hamburg, to a working camp. They needed us to make bullets. It was a factory to make bullets. I worked night shift, all night. Walked early in the morning, came back, and then the day shift went. This is how we lived there, with a little bit better way than we lived in Auschwitz. They needed us, that's why they gave us a little better. In Auschwitz, we slept on a bed that was as wide as probably this, 15 people. We couldn't turn around if we wanted to. No pillow, no cover, nothing. There we already had a little cut. We had better conditions. The reason we had it, because they needed us, we should do the work. We lived there till May 5 when we were liberated. It was over a year that we were there. Whatever I tell you is nothing to what happened. We had not far, some French prisoners, French men, prisoners of war, and they always tried to send us signs. We never saw them, but they knew that we're there. Be strong. The war is almost over. So we tried to keep our spirit. And they did. May 5, they came back from the other camp, the other 1,500. We didn't know why. We get up, and there is no SS. Nobody is there. Couldn't understand. An hour later, the Americans come in, and they liberated us. I should tell you, excuse me, that we were in a daze. We didn't know what happened to us. They were wonderful. They gave us everything. And from then on, we lived, if you so could call, a normal life. But whatever I tell you is probably 1% of what we went through. And it was over a year. If you ask the question, why did God want me to stay alive? I could answer you one which I think. He wanted I should tell you people that with all what I went through, I still remained with the emunah in Hashem. God knows we cannot question, we should not question him. He knows what he's doing. There are miracles every day and every moment. And I am the one that is here. The second thing is probably he wanted me, why I didn't think I would get married, I had children. I got married, I had 3 wonderful daughters. One is here that is taking care of me. And I have 14 grandchildren and 55 great-grandchildren. Wonderful. And I hope I'm not finished. I'm not talking to you, Rami, but all the others. Some will still give me some, hopefully. They're lovely, they're all God-fearing, they all go to yeshiva, they all learn Torah. And I do believe very much that our Torah has everything that you want to learn, if you do learn it seriously. That does not mean that you could not become professionals. I have doctors, lawyers, every kind of profession, my family, and they all learn Torah. And the Torah has an awful lot to offer. I have a great nephew, never went to college, but because he learned Torah and gave him a lot of knowledge, he took a test and got in straight into Harvard Law School. And I know quite a few like that, because I believe that our Torah has everything. Any questions that you have?
Hi, Judith.
You have to speak.
I'm gonna try to yell.
Yeah, because I do not hear well.
We are right now living in a society where we see the anti-Semitism is coming back. As a survivor, what is your lesson?
I was questioned once whether I believed that in America it could happen the same thing. It was very hard for me to answer. When I came to America, this is not the America that I know. It was a different country, beautiful. Now I feel the anti-Semitism. What we can do about it, I'm not smart enough to tell you. Everybody wants to say that we should go to Israel. We cannot fit in Israel. Although I'm very proud of all our Jews, from the ashes, from nothing. Look what they built up. A beautiful country. A country that everybody could be proud of. In every respect, science, everything, they're above everybody.
Do you have any other questions?
Hi. So my question is, throughout seeing the horrors of Auschwitz,
I want somebody will have to come and tell me what he said. I really
just
don't
walk up
know.
there.
Yeah.
Seeing the horrors of Auschwitz every day, how were you able to still see these horrors and believe in God still?
Yes, I did. No matter what, unquestionable. I tell you a story, an interesting. We have had a rabbi from Klosenburg, not far, wherever I had the surgery. He lost 11 children and his wife. And this gentleman came to him and he said, I don't believe in God. He said, okay, come to me. He hugged them and he told them his story. After the rabbi who built a big hospital in Israel told them his own story, he started to cry and they became the best friends and he became religious. Because he saw something what the rabbi felt, that he could feel the same way.
Was there one thing, one specific thing, or no, but was there one thing that gave you hope throughout going day to day?
Hope, yes. Hope, besides believing and having emunah, we all have hope. If you do not have hope, then you're lost. Every day, we have hope that there is going to be another day.
What gave you the hope?
Maybe it was my upbringing. We were brought up with strong religious belief. Maybe that was it. I don't know, but we never lost our hope. I wouldn't be here if I would have lost my hope.
Mrs. Wohlberg, could you tell us a little bit, when I talked to you last time, could you tell us how special it was in your family, Shabbat, when preparing Shabbat? Because that was so beautiful for you, so special.
Our most wonderful thing was spirituality. Shabbat, Yom Tov, the family together. it was something I cannot describe the feeling. I wish that all my great-grandchildren and grandchildren would have that feeling of beauty, love, without having all the amenities that we all have today.
Any questions from this side?
I have a question. My question is, what would you say to people who claim that one of the reasons for anti-Semitism is because of our Torah, is because we dress different, we look different, we act different? What would be your response to a Jew who comes and says the reason that the Nazis wanted to hurt us and that there's anti-Semitism today is because of our religion, and we should let go of it?
No, never let go. And I do not believe that they hate us because we are smart, because we are better than everybody else. Show me another nation. Another nation who survived what we did. They disappeared. We are here forever to stay, and I believe it.
I just want to say thank you very much, because you nailed down 4 of our pillars that we believe in as a community and as a family. The love of family, full emunah in Hashem, right? Zionism and the love for Israel, and Jewish education no matter what, that we have to put all of our efforts into Torah learning and making sure that our youth are learning Torah and about Judaism as much as possible. So everything that you have said is exactly what we're trying to instill.
But you believe it, which is wonderful. I am very proud and very happy. I'm proud to, even all the suffering, I'm very proud to be a Jew.
Any more questions
I
in the
would
back?
never want to live any other way. Pardon?
You want to take more questions? Are you okay?
If anybody wants, I'm ready.
Ruthie, you had a question? We don't have one. You have to scream it out.
Come here and say it.
Just come up here. Come up here.
What do you? Yeah, if they want any more questions.
It is very important for me.
Come down.
It is very important for me, for my kids to understand that it's very important for me for my kids to know the Holocaust happened. I mean, they know. For my kids to be able to defend themselves in the future when Holocaust is denied, because it's denied already.
It was denied a lot of times.
Exactly. So
But
in
it
the
was
future-
denied by quite crazy human beings. One in London, do you remember? It didn't happen. Now, how could you say when 6 million were killed, it didn't happen? It is plain stupidity.
She needs the microphone. Okay. It's being denied while, thank God, survivors are still here. So I'm thinking of future when my kids will need to face this denial when
We can't hear.
We can't hear speaking. Yeah, the microphone right.
do you have any advice for me to give to my kids and to next generation how
They will never be. I do not believe now, when it's out and everybody and all written about it, that there will be a denier. I doubt it, that it's possible. That you will not have to do it, that it will be there. There is so much written about it, impossible that they should be a denier. That's my opinion.
You're right. That's something that I'm scared of, and
No, they will
I
not.
was hoping for
I hope that there will not be any other programs, but a denial of what happened. Was there a denial of the in 12th century in Spain, the Inquisition? Was there a denial? It was there. Everybody knows. So they cannot have denied this. Forget it. I think so. There is no denial.
I'm not sure what you meant about the Yom Tov. Were you talking about Holocaust days? Can I?
Go ahead.
Or what were you referring to before when you asked her about the Shabbat? Sorry.
Just when she was going to have Shabbat was so
Oh, okay,
special.
so my question is, in ghetto or around the entire wartime, Minyan, Shabbat, Yom Tov, how were you able to keep anything? How did you remember what
We did know, but we couldn't keep. There were some people, very few. I had a cousin who kept Pesach. She ate the pills. She changed the small piece of what she got the
Bread.
what you call it. You call it bread. I don't know. It was looked like soap, and she gave it away for potato peel. She lived through Pesach, but there weren't too many. In general, we knew when Yom Tov was. We knew we were fasting on Yom Kippur. We knew, but what was the fast? We were fasting every day. It was nothing.
Were you able to keep any minyans?
No. We were not darling, we were separate. We were only women and separate only men. Yeah. We never saw. My father went to work. He was chosen first to go to work with my two brothers, but then he was so weak, he was chosen to be killed. And I want to tell you something, the great belief, which is even for me unbelievable, which I do believe, but the upbringing, he was chosen and my brother was crying, saying goodbye to him. It was Erev Sukkot. We have the outside with a cousin that he was chosen to go to the gas chamber. And my brother was crying. He said, "Don't cry. It comes Simchas Torah and we have to be happy." When he knew that was the greatness of God, he was a big Talmid Chacham, my father.
I don't want to keep everyone lastly. How did you keep up knowing which Hebrew day it is? What did you do? You didn't have calendars, I assume.
We didn't have anything, but they were older people. I was young. They were a little bit older and they knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Maybe somebody had a siddur or something that they knew exactly. We had nothing. There is no. Yeah. It was. I was once we passed by, and behind the wires was my 14-year-old brother with a cousin, but he was short. So they thought maybe first they took him to work, but then they killed him. When we saw them, my sister and I were so excited to talk to him. The SS came and hit us so that we couldn't lay on our back for 2 weeks. Here we are. What does that show you? Emunah. I'm here. He wanted us to show you all, and I believe in it. That's all I can tell you, my dear.
There's a lot of people around you. Thank you for your
You have a question? Yeah, comment. I'll go after.
Hi, it's amazing to see you and hear what you said.
One, I said I'm just not going to use this if it's okay. It's amazing to see you. I think it's great to see someone with your stature to come to greatness and to really enlighten us with what you have gone through. I think a message that she's sending me and I'm not so young, but I have young children, is to say that we have to instill the Judaism that you felt when you were young in our children, because that's the only way we can really pass this tradition from our generation to the next generation. Your strength was what kept you, and I hope that we can instill the same strength that you have in our children in order for them to be able to withstand all the craziness in this world. Thank you very much.
That's right. You're welcome. This is what I got in my parents. And that's why I'm here. Thank you very much.
One more question. Can you tell us the beautiful story how you met your husband? How did you meet your husband? Tell us.
Well, I was in South America. Oh, I didn't tell you another story. That my sister had her fiancé in South America who went with the last boat. She couldn't go. He was waiting 7 years for her, having emunah that she is alive, and she was alive. He got in touch with some American Jewish soldiers or something higher than that, I don't know. And they got us in touch with him, and that's how he took us out to South America. I was in South America first, coming from Spain on a cruise ship, fancy cruise ship. He paid. We were practically naked from Auschwitz, you could imagine. We ate only kosher. And the gentleman said, "But lady, it is filet mignon." I said, "But we are vegetarians." So we had eggs and things, we survived. We came to Cuba, we have stopped in all places. In Cuba, one lady who came from my town, because Cuba took in quite a few people from all over, and we found her there, some second cousins. She saw our name on the ship, which stopped there, and she came to Kosovo for 5 days. That was the most beautiful 5 days, because on the ship we were sick. We didn't go on a ship with that in those days, and it was quite funny. 35 days coming to New York. Then we went to South America. I didn't want to stay there because there were not quite few Jews. There was one minyan because they were not through, and one was. It was also my brother-in-law was a big Talmid Chacham who went before, who waited for my sister 7 years. He made a mikveh in his house. That's how true he was. But I had no way of finding a husband there. Not that I had any intentions at that time of getting married. But I came to America, I said, I'll come here. I came here, one lady knew my family, the other lady knew his family. They thought it's a good shidduch. We went out for a whole day. And I didn't want to go again with him. I said, no. He said, but why? I don't want to get married. The truth is, I had no parents, I had nobody. It was a hard decision. We passed by as we were the opera. And I said, I have never been at the opera. He had that in mind. He called me up 2 months later. He said, I have 2 tickets to the opera to come. And I went, and that was it. He got me.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody stand up. Thank you. Thank you, Rosina.
I wish you hatzlacha in all your endeavors, especially for the young ones who should grow up and to have mazal. All the best.
Thank you. Stay tuned. Wait 1 more second for Hatika. would like to announce Owen Rubani to sing the Tikva. If everybody from the back can come up, get a little closer. Owen, come up. Owen Rubani is a junior from Red Lake North High School. He won the talent show, and he's amazing. Let's have him at Tikva. His dad is here, and his grandfather is here as well.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Most of all,
خدا نگه داره
thank you
براتون.
to our amazing speaker. You really enlightened us, and we're honored to have you. Thank you so much. Have a good night.